Go, Monsignor.
It's going well. This morning I was doing a little reading, and you know that the Christian community in the world has added a new season to our liturgical calendar called the Season of Creation.
Obviously, I know that.
But one thing I didn't know is that really it began back in 1989 with the Patriarch of Constantinople calling on Christians to pray for creation, to gather and rethink our relationship with the creation that God has given us. And then various church communities and churches have joined in. And of course, 5 years ago, our Holy Father issued Laudate Si, which was the first encyclical that spoke of the interconnectedness between the environment and the people who populate the earth, and how really we have done major damage to creation, which is a gift from God, and that we need to rethink how we live our lives so that we can respect environment, because in respecting environment, it respects human and animal life.
Yeah, and plant life and everything else. When God created everything, He gave us two jobs: be fruitful and multiply, and take care of everything the way that God would take care of it. And we failed on the second one.
Well, I think part of that might be how we translate that,
Have
because
dominion, it says.
one has dominion, and yet some have said that can be translated into stewardship.
Yeah.
Have stewardship over creation.
Yeah.
And there is a difference. Dominion is that I kind of bend creation to my needs, which is what we've done for the last 6,000-7,000 years. But stewardship, and if we look at the way the Lord Jesus spoke about the steward, the bad steward, the good steward, the wise steward.
Yeah.
It's what we are given, we care for. Or we can be the stupid steward that just digs a hole and buries it and ends up contaminating the whole community.
Yeah.
So
that word dominion, I really like to kind of take that apart, because it talks about sharing in God's authority in taking care of the earth. But again, it implies, it doesn't just imply, it says flat out that means that we need to take care of it the way God would. That, so people who use that word dominion to say, well, I can bend it to my will, bend it to my needs, are really not paying attention to the rest of the scriptures.
And so from September 1st, which our Holy Father proclaimed a day of prayer for creation, to October 4th, the Feast of St. Francis, we have this season of creation where the Christian community can come together as brothers and sisters and see how we can, first of all, care for creation around us, and also look at how we can care for creation on a global manner, because it will impact the lives of human beings.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that now, both in the pandemic, in the wildfires of the West, in the flooding and hurricanes of the Gulf Coast, and also in the rest of the world. I know our news media just focuses on us, and we forget that there's still the rest of the world, the rest of the human race.
To whom we are responsible.
Yeah, oh, well, don't say that too loud, because people might start believing it.
Oh, no.
So, so this is a period, I'm a little remiss as pastor that I didn't know about this before. I knew about Laudate Si. I kind of did a quick read of it, but it has really opened my eyes to a need of it. And maybe next year, once the pandemic is over, hopefully, we can begin moving forward on how we can grow in our awareness of God's creation, this great gift that God has given us, and how we can respect all humanity.
And you said it's September 1st to October 4th?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put it in the calendar for next year.
Thank you. Thank you. And on October 4th.
I was just gonna say, one of our most beloved traditions.
is the blessing of the animals. That'll be at 3 o'clock. And because of COVID, the blessing will take place around the 4 angels that we have off the parking lot. And we ask people to wear masks. Even though it's outside, you have to wear masks. And that you keep social distance, which most people do because
They're animals.
the dogs
Yeah.
get a little carried away.
Sure.
And Deacon Henry will be doing that blessing, but I hope to be present to see all the different animals that come forward. And I think it's an appropriate way to end the season of creation because animals do rely on humans.
And we rely on them. For companionship, and there are working dogs and working ostriches and other animals that are
Ostriches.
Yeah. Also llamas. They guard flocks sometimes. So anyway, we feed the animals and we eat them.
Ostriches.
Sure.
Ostriches. Okay. Although you do strike me as somebody who probably need a peacock as your emotional support animal.
No way. First of all, I don't need a support animal, but if I was going to have anything, it would be a chicken.
Name
A
Chanticleer.
hen, not a rooster. Did you say Chanticleer? Yeah, no. He can go sit in a hole. I don't like my rooster. He's a jerk. But anyway.
So, if you have a pet, please bring it by at 3 o'clock on Sunday, October 4th, for the blessing of the animals. As we give thanks to God for the gift of St. Francis, who really began his canticle in praise of creation with the words, Laudate Si.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so after that, we have the Feast of Our Lady of the Rosary, which is
Yes.
October 7th.
And that is a Wednesday this year.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mass at 8 o'clock will be live streamed. And also the church, which has been open, but we are encouraging people to come in and pray the Rosary throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we'll have the praying of the Rosary as a communal prayer at 12 noon. I
We
think.
will. I have it set up now.
It's not up? Okay, great. And we're praying for our country, we're praying for peace, we're praying for an end of the pandemic. Everything you're ever praying for, we'll do that at that time.
Yes. Okay, then October 17th, we're having a Blessing Bag Brigade event here. I'm sure there will be more information on that on Facebook and in the bulletin probably.
And that will be take place outside
Yes.
and with appropriate face covering and social distancing, and it is a great event, especially for our young people to come out. And that invitation is to everyone in the community. You do have to register.
Yeah, I was gonna say, last time they had to register and they had a limit on how many people could come.
Yeah, we can only have certain numbers, but please keep an eye out so you can register ASAP and then come out and create these wonderful blessing bags that are given out throughout the area from New
Jersey
York,
and New York, yeah.
and New Jersey. And if you don't know what a blessing bag is, it is
A gallon Ziploc.
gallons Ziploc, and it's filled with things that people who are not blessed with a permanent residence need to kind of begin their day. So you have shaving cream for the men, you have deodorant, you have toothbrush, toothpaste,
Some soap, some water, socks,
Socks.
snacks.
And also I'm trying to think of like a bar, one of those nutrition bars or stuff
Protein
like that.
bars.
Protein bars, and it is given to those people who are sleeping on the streets or who do not have a permanent residence, just to encourage their human dignity in the beginning of their day.
Yeah.
And socks are very important because when you don't have a home and you don't have a place to work, you spend all your day walking. And so your feet need good socks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as the weather gets colder, they're going to need heavy socks.
Right. And so even if you can't participate in that event, in assembling the bags, we need the materials for them. So all the things that Monsignor mentioned, we need travel size shampoos and soaps and all of that stuff. So toothbrushes, toothpaste, and whatnot. And again, that list will be available on Facebook and possibly our website. But just look for that, please. And also, the Blessing Bag Brigade has its own Facebook page too. So anytime you want to look at that and see where the events are or what items are needed, you can check on the Blessing Bag Brigade in New Jersey's Facebook page, and you can find what items are needed there.
And because of the pandemic, we will not be making as many trips either to Europe or to other parts of the country. There's, people staying home, so you don't need all that travel cosmetics that
I was like, where is he going with this?
that you've been picking up from hotels and
Right.
and at the drugstore, like, for that business trip, get on the computer, do your business trip, and give that little travel toothpaste to Blessing Bag.
There you go.
It's amazing how my mind works.
It sure is. Okay, and we're still doing our food collections. You can drop food off for Open Door and the local food pantries every single day. Non-perishable items, feminine products, diapers. Are we doing a diaper drive?
We will be doing a diaper drive.
But we don't have the.
We don't have the incidentals of that, but Deacon Matt from St. Thomas More has really made a commitment to help with providing diapers to families that are experiencing financial difficulties during this pandemic. When you get down to a point where you have to make a decision on rent, food, and the care of your infant, that's a pretty sad state of affairs for people. And so we're hoping to be a part of that. We have been a part of that in the past, but now we want to support. And everything is given through, I had the organization, but it's a Monmouth County organization. Our bishop has invited us to partner with them, and so we will work with them in providing diapers and pull-ups for little ones.
And October 15th, the eviction notices that have been stacking up, that have been filed throughout the pandemic, that were being held up because of the pandemic, are going to become active. And so there's going to be a whole lot of people who are going to be in serious need because now not only have they not had work, but now they won't have a place to live. So please, continue to follow us and find out what is going to be needed at that time. But we're going to have a real mess on our hands in a few weeks. Okay, Thanksgiving is also coming, and we're going to have a 9:00 Mass on November 26th.
Yes.
Instead of the 8:00 Mass that would normally be. So look out for that. Again, we're limited to 150 people for everything. The Clergy Association every year has an interfaith Thanksgiving service the Sunday before Thanksgiving. We are still going to do that. It will be live, in person at St. Robert's, but also online on social media platforms, which we are still figuring out at this point. But those two services are coming up.
That will be 150 also will be allowed in.
Which,
maybe a few extra.
Monsignor, stop saying that. Oh my God. You're going to get us in trouble. Christmas schedule, which we are also going to stick to 150 people as long as that is what the governor says is allowed, because we're following the guidelines and being responsible. But we do have our Christmas schedule, but we really wanted to make it clear that the dispensation remains in effect. If you are sick, if you don't feel well that day, if you live with somebody or work with people who are compromised, please don't come to Mass on Christmas. If you're healthy, everything is fine, come. But again, know that it's a 150 person limit. On Christmas Eve, we're gonna have, the bishop has allowed us to have our first mass, our first vigil mass at
2 o'clock.
So,
You're going to hear this leading up because first of all, please know that we know that a lot of the people who have who come to Mass on Christmas might not have been following us all along on Facebook or YouTube or even coming to church. And that's no judgment, that's a reality, but we need to get the word out that it's going to be different, okay, than last Christmas. I think we got the word out for Easter. Well, we were closed for Easter.
yes, we were.
But it's going to be a whole different experience because we just this past weekend we had a very sad event that a family that a year ago had requested Mass for a loved one at 5 o'clock showed up for the 5 o'clock Mass. And of course they were very upset. I understand they were upset, but the reality was we haven't had a 5 o'clock Mass since March 15th. So I did call. I have not heard from the family, but I left a message. But the bottom line is, where were you for the last 6 months? Where we've had this pandemic that has really changed how we do things. So you could do us a great service by just letting all the Natalinis, and you know who the Natalinis are.
I needed that explained to me a couple of days ago.
The Natalinis are those Roman Catholics who only go to Mass at Christmas. And please explain to them, things are going to be different when they come in. They won't be able to sit wherever they are. In fact, they won't even be able to stand in the church. We cannot have huge crowds for social distancing. And above all, they need to wear a mask. And we've been very good, and I want to thank the parishioners of St. Robert's because we have been very good about wearing face coverings and masks. And we will continue to do that until it is safe not to. But please let people know if they're going to be belligerent about wearing a mask, they can sit in their car and watch it on their phone, or they can stay at home, watch us, or watch the many other masses.
So the Vatican, EWTN, there's a thousand other masses.
So there will be a lot of masses, but I will not jeopardize the health of this congregation because someone wants to make a statement.
Yeah. So the mass schedule is 2 and 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve, which will be live streamed, and there will be overflow in Dentisi Hall with the mass being shown from the church into Dentisi Hall. And then of course we'll have Eucharistic ministers available for the hall and for cars like we do at 10 o'clock on Sunday. So 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock will be like that, both live streamed, both with overflow in Dentisi Hall and Eucharistic ministers going to the cars. Then we have a 6:30, which is just the limit of 150 people in the church, not live streamed. Then we have a 10.
We are having a 10. We're not going to have midnight mass this year.
Right.
Both because of how our midnight mass has been in the past and in light of the fact that we will need extra masses to assist. So those who can come to mass and want to come to mass will have that availability.
The 10 o'clock.
10 p.m.
And then on
Christmas
morning, we have the 10 a.m.
and at 12 noon.
But neither of them are live streamed, so you want to watch Mass for St. Robert's. If you want to watch it in real time, you got to watch it 2 or 4 on Christmas Eve. Or if you get up on Sunday and want to watch it, it will still be there. The Christmas Eve Mass will be there on Facebook and YouTube, so you can watch it anytime you want,
Okay.
at your convenience.
And again, we realize that, and please be gentle with yourselves. Do not put yourselves against the wall of this Christmas. We're going to do everything we've done in the past, because we really can't do everything we've done in the past in our attempt to be safe and to remain healthy. Yeah. And this is not an overreaction. This is just recognizing the reality of an illness that for some might just cause discomfort, but for others causes major health damage, and even death. And as I've said to several people on Facebook, are you willing to take the chance?
Yeah. And just a reminder that the mask that we wear is to protect other people, not ourselves. I was in a situation yesterday where I was in a small group, and there was one person who wasn't interested in wearing a mask, and we have a very, very, very compromised person in that group. And they were insistent that the other guy wear the mask, and I was really glad, because if anything happened to that compromised person, I would have been devastated. But we need to remember, and I think that his mindset was, well, I'm not sick, and I'm not worried about you getting me sick. Well, it's not about you getting sick, it's about you protecting other people. A lot of times people are asymptomatic, or you might be, it might be in you, but you haven't developed symptoms yet. We have to be really careful, hyper-vigilant, really, to make sure that we're not bringing home anything that could potentially mess up somebody's health for the rest of their lives, as we're seeing in many victims of the virus, or even kill them. That would not be a Merry Christmas.
And again, the pandemic's going to be with us for a while, so just relax, accept it, let's move forward. Like, everybody wants to move forward, but we have to move forward with a new reality. And that new reality is I wear a mask, not so much because I'm afraid you're going to get me sick. I just don't want to get you sick. Mm-hmm. And so, because I believe a lot of people are taking care of themselves and are social distancing, and that's wonderful. But sometimes I find myself in groups that I have to be mindful of social distancing, but I want to make sure that I don't contribute to the problem.
Absolutely. And on that note, we will not be able to distribute Oplotki like we normally do here, but it's going to be in the bulletin, it's on our Facebook page already, and will be in the Christmas letter where you can obtain it yourselves. There are plenty of companies who offer it for purchase, so you can still have it, but we just won't be able to distribute it here at St. Robert's.
And part of that is because we cannot hand things out here. The new directive, well, not new directives, the revised directives from the diocese is we still cannot hand out paper, we cannot hand out a bulletin, we cannot sell raffle tickets, we cannot sign petitions because of they create crowds, and people then end up standing close to each other at a table. Also, the handling of stuff of different people. So we have, which then just reminds me, folks, I know there's a lot of stuff coming in the mail from the Sacred Heart League, the Little Sisters of Kalamazoo, the missionaries of, Outer Slobovia. Keep them to yourself. Do not bring them to church. I'm finding holy cards and everything. I'm telling you right now, I throw them out. Okay? And I'm giving blanket permission to throw them out, because we cannot give them to church. I know the little Italian ladies are going to say, oh, but Father, it's got the face of Jesus on it. Okay, then turn it around and throw it.
Or you can burn it. There's 3 acceptable ways of dealing with, blessed items. These are probably
These are not blessed
items.
These are not blessed.
I know, but if it makes you feel better, you can bury it or burn it. The other way is consume it. Don't do that. Don't eat paper.
Consume the paper.
But or the metals. That'll be a nightmare coming out. But just if you can't just throw them out, then bury or burn them. Okay, it's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's it. That's all I have. Do you have anything else?
No, only that we didn't talk about, we got a new piece of equipment to keep our church clean.
The gun?
Yes.
That I'm not
What's
allowed
it
to
called?
use.
You're allowed to use it.
No, Monsignor said I wasn't, because he didn't trust me that I wouldn't point it at people.
I would never trust her with anything that looked like a gun. Go ahead.
It is an atomizer that basically has a chemical that adds in there, and it's most of it is chlorine based, and we certainly in the weekends and stuff like that, and like this morning we go through every other pews and we sanitize not only all the pews but the door handles, the doors, the bathrooms, and everything else to help keep antiviruses, not only just COVID, but any virus at bay.
And you know, I have to say, I'm allergic to chlorine, but that does not bother me one bit. You know, normally, like if there's chlorinated water, you know, like in the township water or whatever, I actually have a lot more allergy problems with that. But I was even in the church while you were doing it,
Yeah.
and I didn't have an issue at all.
Yeah, no, it's a very fine, again, it atomizes, so it basically, it doesn't stay airborne, but basically targets where you're pointing at, and it covers completely, so all around. And so it's, yeah, I'm very happy with the product, and we have it, one for the church and one for the parish hall here. And John Tutunchi wants you to
Yeah, I
give
was
a
just
shout
gonna
out.
say, hey Tooch. I just saw the text. How's it going, Tooch? Everything good?
John.
He's silly.
Okay, so that's about it.
I think.
Thank you for staying with us, and please know you're in our prayers, and we look forward to seeing you in person or online this Sunday. God bless.
God bless.